Hello everybody! Hello chat, hello. Hope everyone's been having a good day, good evening, good whatever the hell time of day it is for you. Today we are continuing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! We have returned from our latest Reasoning Spectacular and it was really cool. And we have located Jikoku. He is indeed not dead. So, and it doesn't look like anyone else in the courtroom was expecting it. So that's a plus for us. But enough moseying around. Let's get to it. This will be the last stream of this week, so I don't have any spiels yet here. Let's get started here. Give me 1 second. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Just have to make sure everything is set up. Give me one second here. We'll get started shortly. Here, there we go. All right, let's get going here. All right. Trial part 2, the Old Bailey. Had a little bit of an intermission, just to figure out where Jigoku was, but now we've found him. I wasn't aware. There we go. Oh, before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. There are revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion, that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. I have a feeling that you are also not who you seem to be. Counsels, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. I have a feeling you're going to stop us from reaching the whole truth here. Resolve, yes. That's my intention. No way, the resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Do. My lord, if I may inquire. The defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Asogi permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? Oh! He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. Well, is there any other prosecutor? Oh, I submitted a written petition to Lord Stronghart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. So we only have today! You did what? In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day. Kazuma. Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. But he didn't actually do anything, though. Like, he was part of it, but he didn't actually get to do anything. Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into very dangerous territory. Yeah! It's last case of the game! Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us? As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume? Take one deep breath. You're gonna need it, buddy. Yes, my lord. In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed hearing of Barak Van Zieks. The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh, it's so cool seeing the progression between these two just across the game. Well, I mean, across the game, more like we skip to seeing Kazuma the way he is now, and he's pretty distinctly different from how he was when he was guiding us through our first trial. Very well then, this preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Asogi, begin. As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seishiro Jigoku into the room. At last then, we've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Yeah, you gotta psych yourself up, buddy. No more mistakes. Come on, Ryunosuke. It's time for that steely resolve, because this is going to test it to the limit. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Look at him! He's so cool! So it was you who issued this, wasn't it? Oh, was it? Your Sapunia? I did what was necessary. Ha 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 ha! Well, look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you'd take that tone with me, I must say. The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked. My name is Seishiro Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am of course fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty. Judge Jigoku, I must ask. Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places. I wasn't guilty of that. I wasn't the one who did it. You acquitted me yourself. And now, I'm a practicing defense lawyer. Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see. You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France. Took flight? I'd have to object to that turn of phrase. Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances? Well, we haven't done any cross-examination yet. You might be a bit too early here. Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment. What? Leaving the country prematurely when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette. But my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Nope. Unrelated, you say? Oh, uh-oh. I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. Wait, what? Hang on. Did I read that right? I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I have offered my... Oh, okay, no. I did say that right. Speaking of which, I should probably check over the court record again. Yeah, so there's that. Oh, I didn't get to read this! Following departure of the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. in order to review evacuation procedures. The drill will take 20 minutes. Crew to resume duties as soon as the drill is over. Okay, that was in... Yeah, that was in Judge Jigoku's cabin. And then Kazuma's sword, which is chipped at the end. Then I've been told to tug on its ears, which we already have. It's a little speaker. Clint's autopsy report. John H. Wilson. And then the passport. Okay, I think that's all we need right now. Oh, I didn't read that. Whoops. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that. So you would run from all of this? I beg your pardon? This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now. A year ago in Japan? The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean? That's right! And you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases! The defense has evidence to prove it. Oh, I'm doing stuff already? Oh shit! I'm not even cross-examination yet! Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. Hell yeah, we are! Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seishiro Jigoku is involved in this case? The telegram! There we go! This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication contained 4 names: K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Oh, hold it. Oh, uh-oh! You little... Oh, he's... Where did you get that? In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. What? How on earth did you... What's this all about? Why is my name on that list? This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. K. Asogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins. No. Yeah, he's finding out about this just now! A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. There we go, our very first case! The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Josiah Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. A. Shin and her victim, J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Asogi, whose victim was the British police inspector Tobias Gregson. K. Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other. What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, almost a year apart, are linked, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill. What? Yeah, even he's shocked by this. He didn't know about this. The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Judge Jigoku? What's this all about? Yeah, he doesn't know! And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you had accepted the assassination mission, but the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract. Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. Oh, he might just not know. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Seishiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. Oh, was it? Oh, you deliberately avoided saying a name? The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself? His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that his new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Groose. Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court. Ooh. There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. Ooh. Ding. It seems that this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night on the 31st of October. On the night of the 31st October, I read that completely wrong. Whoops! Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. He's so cool! He has skeletons in his closet that we're going to break open, unfortunately. We look solemn. Assassin exchange. It's true that Kazuma Asogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. That's incorrect, isn't it? Because the evacuation drill that he received. Like, we found it in his, trash bin, right? Like, he threw it away. So you admit it, then. As this communication suggests, there really was an assassin exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels, not something I can discuss here. To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. Pardon? Asogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know. What? Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Counsel? Oh! Oh, Kazuma! Kazuma-sama? Judge Jigoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain. I'm not obligated to divulge that information. Oh, uh-oh. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified as is unrelated to the events of this case. I doubt that. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Yes he could have, because we found this in your trunk! Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's conceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barak van Zieks. The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged. I'd like to cross-examine, please, because there's an inconsistency. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such... Oh god, that's a word! Machiavellian? Machiavellian? Okay. Clearly it's a plot only a government minister and high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Oh! Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassination exchange plot. We are concerned with only the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, Counsel? There's an inconsistency! Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Alright. True that Kazuma Sogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. That is incorrect, and I think we can just present this here.
Objection!
That should be pretty simple to do. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. What? I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st. Well, where did you get that? Well, well, by we, I of course mean Herlock Sholmes. But we combed through your room, buddy. It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. We were acquainted yesterday, if you remember. Herlock Sholmes again. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Groose were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill. All crewmen were away from their posts? Yeah, that means nobody was guarding you, buddy! And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. Oh, he's thinking. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime. Oh, hi, Kazuma! A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. But it amounts to nothing. Why? Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel? Oh, we do have proof. We have proof that Gregson was in there. Because of the pocket watch thing. Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has evidence to prove it. Ding! You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in— It's this! We found it in his bag thingy. Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday. What is that? The crown of a pocket watch? A pocket watch? And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part. It can't be. No matter how perfect you try to make a crime seem, there will always be holes somewhere. Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill in the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku. Yeah, we got you! Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you, you young murderer? Well, we didn't kill anyone! You acquitted me!
Objection!
Well, what do you have to object? Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks. Where? How? Point them out to me! What? And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. You just gave him an opportunity to think of something up! I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year, but we proved we were innocent! Sorry? If I'd known that it results in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast. I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice the pitfall into which you've stumbled. Alright. Okay. Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Oh, okay. Yes, I do. Very well then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st October. Of course, as a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice. And it feels like you're doing exactly that. Okay, events in the cabin. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an ippon seo throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch broke when I threw him over my shoulder. It was nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London. Ippon seoi? A common jujitsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? No, there's a flaw in his! What? The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place in there. Well, no, Ryunosuke, we can find holes here. I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord. No. Just want to mention... But it was found in his trunk, right? We have this photo for a reason, I feel like. We have this for a reason, I think. But if this testimony holds, Judge Jigoku will be deemed to have no involvement in the case. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination. Well, we gotta! Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You are an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. Well, I think that applies to you, buddy. In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, vents in the cabin. Okay, I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an ippon seo throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. I feel like if this were the case, then the little doohickey... Oh, hello, Quim! Welcome! Hope you've been having a good day, good evening, or good whatever the hell time of day it is for you. The fact that we found Gregson's doohickey in his trunk, though, means that he was stuffed in there. It has to be. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. But his body could have been moved! It could have been moved off the ship! Because the huge-ass refrigerator, and also the body was clearly cooled somehow. Alright, we'll let Ryunosuke think real quick. So that's a story. Well, I suppose if you think about it, wherever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks... We don't say, Mr. Naruhodo must have been murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might have happened to me if I break another one? And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in the little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin, the body would have had to been moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit then. Oh, if he was a person of higher power, he wouldn't have his luggage checked for dead bodies, I assume. I am good. Ended up joining brother in an evening grocery run. Ooh, hope that went well. Evening grocery run sounds fun. Okay, Jigoku. We can't present anything to counteract this right now. I think we have to press it. Ask him to reveal some pertinent information on this statement, I think. But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive. Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling. What? If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have gotten back to Britain? I don't know if you heard about the Lowe's cat that got lost, but we made a pit stop there to see the cat. Ooh, no, I have not. When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing. No? When someone dies, you can move their corpse! Like, what do you mean? Well, then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body. How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think? Well, yes, that's true, but... all passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. Could you imagine seeing someone carrying someone else and just being like, alright, move along. Nothing is suspicious here. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. Ugh, that's killed the idea then. But perhaps not. Miss Susato? Also, Susato's been a lot more active this trial too. That's kind of cool. It's showing her, because she's also acted as Ryunosuke's defendant at some point, or not Ryunosuke specifically, just acted as a replacement for him. There's a hardware store cat at this Lowe's. She's kind of like a local mascot. Someone noticed that she was missing and they checked the security cameras and she got in the back of a shipping truck and it kind of spiraled from there. It became like a viral thing, but she got found and returned over the weekend. That's cool. I love it. I love it when places have like the little animal mascot that just likes hanging out there. Because I know there's a library that has a cat mascot too. We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted guard to them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative. Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? Oh? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony. With your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amended testimony now. There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain. Oh, you've made it a oh, this is a statement I can present evidence against. Hey, we have this photo of everyone in here for a reason. What's this big, large trunk that you have standing in the corner here?
Objection!
There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true. And what's that supposed to mean? Far from being impossible for you to do. The transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do. What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Yeah, Kazuma's lost as hell. He doesn't know where we're going. He's kind of just adapting at this point. As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. He is? I didn't know that! Though I guess it makes sense, because Suzato was saying maybe there's an exception. And that exception would have to be Jigoku with his huge-ass trunk. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. We did? Oh, it's been so long. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You don't have to go through any of that, did you? Oh, if I played this all in one sitting, I would have remembered this, I think. Yeah, start of episode 4. If I played this all in one sitting, I would have remembered that. Oh, I knew you were jealous. Ha 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 ha. No, but I figured there was no other way there was no reason for them to give us this photo in the court record unless if it was for something like this. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the corporal will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting... Well, it's a photo of 5 people after all. Hey, look at that. He was next to us this whole time. I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. That's ominous to think about. He's already dead by this point and we don't even know. And he knows he's been caught! Order! Order! Order in the court! I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk. It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku? Yes, it would! But inside his trunk? How horrifying! Yeah, we were standing like I have to imagine Ryunosuke probably like leaned on it at some point, right? Just like to rest himself. That's... And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel. Yeah, we last saw him alive in the defendant's antechamber in episode 3. Yeah, exactly! Poor dude. Taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense. Well, you do! Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged that there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition would have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator. Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between. But there's wasn't there the whole ass cold room on the steamship? Or am I remembering wrong? I just remember that Judge Jigoku had ice, which means there is a refrigerator there. Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. Okay, they do. And the SS Cruise is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku? He's the only one who could have. However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Does it? Not all of it, I don't think. Uh-oh, that's ominous. That was ominous. That was really well animated, but also that was really ominous. Well, this is all very heartening. Huh? I can see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already. Wait, he's congratulating us already? Judge Jigoku, please, stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond? Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there? Why ever not? Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical. The actual scene of the crime. The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. But we've already proved that it could also not have been a gunshot, as the accused, Barack Van Seeks, shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, how do we disprove it then? Oh, do we have something? The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim. That's the only fairy tale here. How can you say that? Quite simply, because the claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Which one? Hang on, let me take a look real quick. Which one? Ryunosuke, you're a little bit ahead of me real quick right now. It's not this. One of the candles appears to have been blown off. It's not that. That would disprove us. Is it because he's, like, curled up in a corner? Like, why would he be in the corner of the room? Just out of sight, I guess. Oh, I guess he is curled up in a ball. Like, if he died instantly, he would have just fell to the floor flat, right? If he looks like he was, like, stuffed somewhere into a bag or something. Into a trunk, per se. Because if he died instantly, he would be, like, laying straight down or something. He would, I don't think he would have gotten to position like this. That's probably what, I assume that's what they meant. Because there was a similar situation in the Courtney Sith case, where the blood trail was dripping a different way than what it should have been. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you? The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. Oh, well, there's only one way to figure out if I'm right or not.
Take that!
Oh, that's right? A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed? Yes, but the point is the posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could easily have adopted that foetal position due to the pain of the shot would subsequently prove fatal.
Attention.
But he died instantly! He wouldn't have felt the pain! I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jikoku, but it's your logic that is flawed. We just said no, you are! What? According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Yeah, gotcha, buddy! Which begs the question of, why the victim's body is curled up in that way? Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now. You're suggesting... He was stuffed into a trunk! The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor from the inside of a large travel trunk. No! You're quite right! The shape of the body... It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space! We got him! Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood. Oh, we probably should have checked that. We probably should have checked that. Huh? Hang on, I'm getting summons really quickly. Let me just BRB really quickly. I have someone banging on my door. Alright, I'm back! Sorry about that. Ow, whoops. I just had to go help bring in some food. Ooh. Stub the back of my foot. Alright. Present my trunk? I refuse! What? On what grounds? Yeah, on what grounds, buddy? I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations. In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood in your trunk. I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that allow me to— I think that's incorrect! At this moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in British's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth. Ah! We got you, buddy! Order in the court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be? You can't be serious. You did it? Yeah, Kazuma is in shock too. He's like, wait a minute, I didn't plan for this at all. Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Asogi? What? Is he trying to throw Asogi under the bus? Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense. What? You... Dear God! Outrageous! Yeah, me too! Oh shit, I didn't get to finish reading. No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Uh-oh. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? You're the judge, buddy! I feel like you should know more than anyone. I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else. You can't still be denying it! If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man? Because it had to have happened on the ship. As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life. Oh! Oh yeah, he is throwing Kazuma under the bus! That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi! Yeah, Kazuma's like, you... Kazuma's like, how, why? Why me? I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth. Prosecutor Kazuma Asogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin, you could pin the crime on me, didn't you? The girls are fighting! Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, on an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't! So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more. I don't believe this. Hell, what'll it be, lawyer man? Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi. This isn't the dead end, it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. Well, the answer is probably... No, it wasn't Kazuma, it was Seishiro Jigoku. Well, yeah, it wasn't... It can't have been... Kazuma. Because but do we have the evidence to prove it? Do we have the evidence to prove that it wasn't Kazuma? Because Kazuma's... The chip of Kazuma's sword is in Gregson's trunk. Do we have evidence? It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Asogi is... I assume I have to respond with impossible because... Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process. It is, no question. Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. Banger of a soundtrack. What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement? Hey, is there something in here? Following the departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on main deck at 10 p.m. in order to review evacuation process. Shoot. Oh, I really should have played all of these in one sitting. Not one sitting, but one after the other, because I feel like I would remember things that characters said, but they didn't necessarily give evidence for. Impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's... Do we have something? Because this all doesn't. That's the autopsy report. That's a crime scene plan. Photograph of the victim. Pocket watch identification. Asogi papers. It's not the Asogi papers. Most definitely not. It's not this passport. Not this. It's not this. Telegram from Japan. Great Sword Karuma. I think I have to present the evacuation drill itinerary, but I don't know I'm not fully solid on why. The small line here is that it says that all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck, so maybe he was disguised as it. I don't think that's I think that's incorrect, actually. But I don't see what anything else in our library per se can say otherwise. This is for the 31st of October. I'll present it. I don't know why. I'm not confident. This itinerary for crew members of the SS crews, my lord. This is conclusive proof. An itinerary? How's that prove anything? Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant. What? Why? On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin. Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate. So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary. Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far. But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. Ah. Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at that time. But Prosecutor Asogi instated in yesterday's proceedings... I would not have remembered this. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. Yeah, he did leave the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town, and returned to England the following morning. Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Asogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing. Okay. That was the right piece of evidence. I feel like if I had continued to play just straight through, I would have remembered. No, absolutely not! I don't accept that at all! What do you mean? The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the... Oh? No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma? As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify, and undeniable proof. Oh, no! Well, we caught you, buddy! There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. Oh, buddy! You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then, you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's really what happened, isn't it? Say Shiroji Goku. But that's not the end of it. It can't be. It was that damned trial 10 years ago. That's where all this began. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. Oh. Oh! Oh, he broke it just like 10 years ago. Whoa! It's over. My life is over. I feel like there has to be exceptions for killing in self-defense, right? Because clearly Gregson was... Oh. A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand. And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Osogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place. And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Oh shit! Oh, it wasn't in self-defense! He just went straight into kill! Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume. That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart. And made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper. What? The Reaper? But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself. No! Oh! Guys, it's not looking good for Van Zeeks. No, but we still have the other information, though. So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper! I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France, and his own death. Oh, how awful! It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting. For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock. I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came round and went for me in a reckless move. Oh! I'd received a British issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. Oh, and that's that! So the revolver belongs to you, doesn't it? Or does it? And the victim was killed inside your cabin on this SS Groose, which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street. The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room. Then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Bone, from whom he would take back his police identification. Ah! I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk. That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then. Yeah. Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers. Miss Venus, of course. I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise? For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself than I would have otherwise. The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation. I only arrived at the room at around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Bone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder. What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. Huh? Yeah, I didn't know that! I didn't notice I had it fallen out of his overpocket coat when I moved the body into the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. I'm surprised he's just letting go like that. Oh, and then the thingy is gone. I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty. An exchange of assassins? What a foolhardy idea! Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? If you're going to be pulled away to the gallows anyway, you might as well tell us. Nothing you say now can make any matters worse for you. Just tell us! Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say. Oh, even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. What were you planning? I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Whoa! All 5 at once! Seishiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. Already? No, but there's more. This is the last course of the game. This is the last trial of the game. There's got to be more. And I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. No, but no, this can't be. This is the last case. There's got to be more. Really? Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt. Oh, wonderful! Well done, Mr. Naruhodo! Yes, thank you. No, but we have... Yeah, Ryunosuke is like, no, that's not the whole truth. There's something wrong here. Is something wrong? I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and this extraordinary assassin exchange, we do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication? Adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant, Barak Van Zeeks.
Objection!
Oh, Asogi, what's up? Alright. The prosecution calls for an adjudication to be deferred. Counsel? The accused's innocence hasn't fully been established at all, and therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position. He's still after Barak Van Zeeks. What? But Judge Jigoku has already confessed. Nevertheless, Barak Van Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into the sick, merciless assassin exchange. That may be true, but... So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? Bum-ba-da-dum, bum. Bum-ba-da-dum. The victim went to France, having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barak Van Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Oh shit. What do you have? Yeah, what do you have? Order? Order! The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting that you have some new information with which to build a case? Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper. Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed. What do you mean? It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. He's committed. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zieks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes. That explains Cosmo's silence before. He was trying to figure a way to keep the court going here. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zieks unwittingly started 10 years ago. Very well. Balstic's extremely irregular. I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper in the assassin exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Oh, and there's the flames. They're being relit. I have to imagine, like, all of the trajectories and stuff were... Oh, hello, Van Zieks! How nice of you! Oh, they rebuilt the... I just realized they rebuilt the stand pretty quickly, huh? I turned a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice. Lord Van Zieks! Alright. First, I had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of the implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness. You're not allowed to do that, but sure, video game. Well, I guess this is like the start of like the modern civilization, right? They wouldn't have laws against this. In order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. And what says the defense. Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically. You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer, and as his friend. Now that's what we must do! The defense has no objection, my lord! We're just letting this happen. Very well, defendant. You will take the witness stand, and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper, and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord. Alright. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the Reaper exchange. Reaper exchange? The assassin exchange. Sorry, I don't know how I got Reaper there. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution. Both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you have masterminded the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accusation to be untrue. Yonosuke Naruhodo. Yes? Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom? To find the truth! A desire to uncover the truth. Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty? From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you just said. Oh, that's ominous. Foreboding. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. There's a contradiction there? Oh, I guess it's the... because we just looked at it. Hang on. Gregson's involvement, the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. Point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. This is incorrect, because Clint's autopsy, and I remember this because we just looked at it, the coroner was John H. Wilson. There's his signature right there, and right then and there. So I'd have to present this.
Objection!
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report. I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Order in the court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel? This, the autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an undeniable link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not that accursed name again! The professor! I personally researched all the court's records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead, Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. Hang on, let me drink some water here real quick. Alright. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document. As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death, with a marvelous victory in court. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Oh, hydrate moment! Thank you for making me drink water, and also for making me sit up straight! I need to do the opposite of the Shimp here. Woo! Alright. Oh, what is he going on about? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous! And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced. Isn't it? No, but that's wrong, isn't it? Because it was actually, Mikotoba. Because Mikotoba was there too. So he would know if it was fake or not. By someone in power in Japan and in Britain. Using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Order? Order at once! 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it, which is why I had to come to Britain. Whatever the cost! Also, Van Zieks was like baby prosecutor at the time. I don't think he would have had the power to do so. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipanese's tenacity of purpose here. However... there it goes. He who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma! You know this won't wash! You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago! You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation! As it happens, I have evidence. You do? What? What do you mean? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku, but my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence. And he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret! While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword Karuma before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was. Oh! Oh! Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing? Is that it? That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth. That's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admitted then, the evidence was used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Oh, orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it? That's right. Even then. Oh! Oh shit! Yeah, and that's how the shard got in his trunk. So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama. If the results of Clint Van Ziek's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the league coroner, Wilson, must have known about it. They can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barak Van Zieks. But Barak Van Zieks was like baby prosecutor! In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins. Exactly. As was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. Ah! I don't know, but that sounds incorrect because... What? Barak Van Zieks was like new prosecutor. I don't think he wouldn't have been able to do that. And plus, even now, I don't think a prosecutor has the power to telegram over to the courts of Japan in high secrecy, you know? So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barak Van Zieks.
Objection!
Oh? Kazuma Asogi. What? What you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. But he doesn't have proof that he said any of that, unfortunately. In that case, I know. the name of the Reaper. Oh shit! What? Lord Van Zeeks? I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows it down, the remaining possibilities, to one. If Lord Van Zeeks isn't the one behind all this, then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. It has to have been male Stronghart, doesn't it? I believe I know who it is too. You? I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... It has to be Stronghart. Absolute authority in judicial matters. He has to be the counterpart to Seishiro Jigoku, because it wouldn't have been Barak Van Zeeks.
Take that!
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy reports, or results, is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Male Stronghart. What? Lord Stronghart? Yes, it's true that 10 years ago the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court, but he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks, had been killed. Hi, Stronghart! I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. Well, Lord Van Zeeks? 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession, but I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. Yeah, from Stronghart. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now, I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world, by Seishiro Jigoku. Lord Stronghart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. Hi, buddy! You better step off of that judge chair. The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. Oh? A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense. A wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself? You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zeek's autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
Oh. But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence? What? Yeah, he's been saying this without evidence, is the thing. Gregson's dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country, but in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. Oh shit! New animation! He stood up! I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly substantiated by anyone or anything. Oh, we were close, weren't we? Order! Order in the court! Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events 10 years ago, is there? No, there is! A certain someone by the name of Yuji Mikotoba, who helped Dr. Wilson with his autopsy. So that was the real purpose of this assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections. Kazuma. He's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? There is! There is! Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zeek's autopsy. There is someone! He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks, even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Sith won't say anything against Stronghart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection!
Yeah, buddy! Still one person alive to do so! Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left! Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me! Kazuma, Please, this trial can't end. Not yet! I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. Hell yeah, Stronghart, you better get ready to get off your chair. The person who the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks is Yujin Mikodova!
Take that!
Heaven help us. Another Japanese? Well, yeah, he was a visiting student! An expert in forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Yujin Mikotoba. 16 years ago, he came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Osogi as a visiting student. And what could his testimony possibly tell us? Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report. Incorrect? Oh, buddy! Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature. It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. The defense demand is denied. Oh, you really want to hide it, don't you, buddy? What? Well, Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stands in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Stronghart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Prosecutor Osogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the reaper of masterminding the assassin exchange. I did, yes. So present your evidence for those claims, and make your case complete. He doesn't have it. At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need witness testimony. The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Osogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Oh, Stronghart is really trying to... Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by a Japanese Supreme Court judge. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
Objection!
But we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean me. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Osogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. Ugh. This futile game of revenge is over, young Master Osogi. Oh, Stronghart's really covering his tracks really well, and he's in a position where he can. Oh, Osogi! Oh, we were so close, too! That will be all. Oh, hold it? Who? Who? Oh, Sholmes! Sholmes to the rescue! Mr. Sholmes! This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, the goat! He's here to save the day! May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Objection!
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Mayor Stronghart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. Is it really? And why would that be? You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question. If I may, we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be. But the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can't it? The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered? No, it hasn't, buddy! You're covering it up! It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the oh god, that's a word? Prevarications? Prevarications of your superiors? That's a bot there. Goodbye. Order? Order in the court! Oh, you're not getting your order today, buddy! It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on corpse proceedings. Silence! Oh, he's right. The judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end. But will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person here present who can honestly— oh, shoot. What's— That's the power of the goat! The trial should go on! Summon the witness! That's right. We need to clear this up for that young Japanese fellow. Okay. Oh, a shining ray of hope! My goat! My lord, you assured those present that you would uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself of this outlandish accusation. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery. Oh! Testify! Oh, they're chanting! Oh, this is the final trial! Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it. I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. The court will recess briefly. Let's go! I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations. Oh, a shining ray of hope! The light in his eyes is back! Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives in the courthouse, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. Pardon? Mikotoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I'm trying desperately to stay awake, lol. If I end up falling asleep, thank you so much and take care of yourself, chat. Yeah, take care of yourselves, chat. Thank you for dropping by, Quim. Hope you sleep well if you do fall asleep. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Mikotoba is here in the courthouse? Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you? He planned for it! My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely. I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know? Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once. But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you. Absolutely. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards, and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please. Oh, of course. In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand. Oh, let's go! The shining ray of hope! My God! So it's Lord Stronghart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I going to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under. Let's go, Ryunosuke! To be continued. And that is where we're going to end stream for today. Save your progress? Yes. Mikoltova is so lucky that Stronghart made the same mistake as Iris about the autopsy report's handwriting and that she stole it 2 years ago, so he couldn't check it again when planning the Assassin's Exchange. Yeah, thank God! Mikoltova is insanely lucky that the events panned out like this. Oh my God! No, that was I guess that was kind of foreshadowing then. The whole Iris thinking she was related to Dr. John H. Wilson. It was there the whole time! In the back! God, I love Ace Attorney! It's all coming together! It always does in the last chapter! Alright, but that is where— oh shit! Oh, hello! Oh, why is she here? Hang on, we are ending stream. I have to close the game. Sorry, we'll see you again later here, but... oh, no, I do not want to save. Back to title. Don't save. I literally just saved. Yes, I would like to return to the title screen. Alright. But that is where I am going to end it here today. Tomorrow is going to be the end of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, I believe. So, we might just continue again next week, because I wouldn't want to leave us hanging again like this. But thank you guys for stopping by. It looks like we'll be ending the game pretty shortly, next week. As always, come join the Discord server. We have fun here, I swear. If you wanna see my art or other people's art, come check out the Blue Sky or the Tumblr. Twitter's completely dead. It's been eaten by a rat. And if you want to watch past streams, come look at the YouTubes. I'm also trying to, I'm trying to edit videos, so go check out the main channel too. Maybe I'll have a new video up there at some point. But thank you guys for stopping by. That's all I've got for you guys tonight and for this week. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.